This is I Have No Title, and I Must Podcast Movie Reviews, where we review new movies as well as get our take on old ones. We are your hosts, Tyler
and Chris.
And today we're reviewing Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. In the Dial of Destiny, we see an old grizzled Jones on the day of his retirement from the university. But he gets drawn into one more adventure when his goddaughter shows up looking for the subject of her father's research, Archimedes' Dichotheria mechanism. And so what do you think? You want to do our cons first?
Yeah, let's start negative and then go positive, because I want to end on a positive note on this one, because apparently we're just reviewing the most controversial movies possible.
Do you want to go ahead and give our cons? Because I think we're kind of in agreement on those.
Yeah, okay. So, car chases, too long. Everyone seems to agree about that. This is something other people have brought up, so I'm just going to mention it. There's no, memorable fight scene or action sequence or whatever. There's no, a boulder rolling down that The Simpsons are going to recreate, although The Simpsons will recreate something out of this, I promise you, and that will be what people will remember from this movie. It's overall a bit long. All the car chase sequences could have been shortened by a bit, and you still could have gotten to the same place. People have said, I think it's too woke, so that's apparently a real big problem for a lot of people. Not for me, but I'm just saying, because there's a lot of ethnicities, although here's the thing. Doesn't Indiana Jones spend 3/4 of his time in places where there are no white people? I just want to mention that. There's a woman who either helps him or hurts him, and there's a bunch of stuff they have to go to multiple countries to find. Oh wait, did I just describe Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade? Oh my god! My brain just exploded. It's all of them. If you like Indiana Jones, you're going to like this movie. All of the cons about this movie could be true about any one of the other movies.
I agree. This is not my favorite Indiana Jones. With that being said, it's still a pretty solid movie. I put it right in the middle of the pack.
I mean, I didn't dislike this. Yeah. I liked it about as well as the best or worst James Bond films. I don't even it's similar to that.
Yeah, there's some nice cameos from previous characters. The jokes in it, they're not gut busting. Most of them land pretty well, I think.
The eel one is still my favorite. That's still.
Yeah, overall, it's just a decent, fun movie. Nothing overwhelmingly good about it, but nothing that took me out of it that was overwhelmingly bad either.
So this isn't, I'm not going to get into spoiler territory, but if anybody's talking about anyone, if you've heard a negative review, it's most likely going to be for that person's own political reasoning. And because of that, they're going to probably focus in on what they're going to call the Mary Sue of this movie. A person who can never fail, except Indiana Jones still beats her in the end, kinda. And they've said she's insufferable. They've said that she said it's her movie. But the thing is, she's kind of a secondary antagonist. She works to cross purposes with Indiana Jones for the entire film. She doesn't seem altruistic at all. Which, Indiana Jones kills people. I mean, in every film, but it's for a purpose that has actually influenced me since I was a child. This woman's just trying to make money. She's kind of horrible. So I don't want to hear that it's the woke mafia trying to inflict feminism on you, because I think she was meant to not be likable. She was meant to be maybe Indiana Jones at age 13, but even then, at age 14, he was already saying that belongs in a museum. He was already fighting whoever those guys were on the top of a train and whipping at lions. He was a hero then. This woman's in her 30s and still a bad guy, just left of center of the Nazis, working with the Nazis, selling to Nazis. Sounds like a collaborator to me. She's not even portrayed as a good guy. So I don't know where this is coming from. Yes, she's a know-it-all. Yes, she can do no wrong. The greater the villain, the more incentive you have to root for the hero. I don't know how anybody could say, what is this woke nonsense? Because I don't feel like she's portrayed as a good guy.
No, I don't see any of it. So, maybe I'm being biased as they are, but I didn't see that. And as far as some of the other things that people have been criticizing, like the de-aging CGI, it's I admit that can be a slippery slope for movies going forward, just as CGI itself was. But honestly, it's well done and not that big a part of the movie.
Yeah, as long as he's not talking, and he doesn't talk much through that, you really just notice it when he's talking or when he's extremely still for a long period of time with the light on him. When there's any kind of shadow and when he's in motion, it works really well. And just to say, it's a whole action sequence at night on a train, and some of it he's on top of the train.
Yeah.
So it looks great in some areas. It's not like, the Luke Skywalker, when people said, like the next day, kids on the internet were already deep faking that Luke Skywalker better than they'd done in the show. This looks pretty good, except for when he's talking, which again, he doesn't talk very much.
Yeah, such a small part.
And even then, it's not like the worst. I was sitting here trying, because I'd heard so many bad reviews, I could not enjoy this film because I was actively trying to find the things that people were saying. Some of the rumors that people had said about this movie were actually lies that I had heard, that when they said,
people were asking like, oh, they don't say what happened to his son, or they don't say what happened to his wife. They do twice. Once subtly, and then once very directly and specifically tell you what happened.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil anything except for right now. If you're still listening and you haven't seen the movie and you're listening to see if you should go see it, go see it. Go see it. And I'm going to keep saying this for better or for worse on every movie. If you are a cinema buff, which would probably be the only reason you click on this, or a nerd in any way, go see a movie. If you're waiting for it to come out on digital, I understand that. I have said in the past, and I will continue to say, I love going to the theater, so I encourage other people to go to the theater, but I understand if you can't or don't want to or just too busy to. But watch this film. Don't deify the original 3. I heard somebody bend over backwards trying to give like a middling review to Temple of Doom the other day, using words like charming, charismatic, interesting, and these were just like solid in a row. Like, she didn't know what to do because she couldn't give it a bad review. I will. Temple of Doom, not a great movie. I'm not gonna say I hate it. I'm not gonna say I don't like it. I like Harrison Ford and I think the movie's okay. This one, I like Harrison Ford and I think the movie's okay. I think it's better than Crystal Skull.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I put this in the middle of the pack. It doesn't take my top spot. That still belongs to The Last Crusade. Raiders of the Lost Ark, still a solid second, but I would put this squarely above Crystal Skull and Temple of Doom.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah, that would be my layout exactly. That's weird. I hope we see a movie at some point that we firmly disagree on. That would, we're not just, he hasn't written my lines for me. We went to see this together and I think we had about the same reaction to all of it. We're waiting for it to be bad and it was just never that bad. I think their real complaint, because I would liken this to Logan over the new Star Wars movies. In the new Star Wars movies, I think like Han Solo is portrayed as pretty broken down, but like not, I don't know. It's hard to say because I think, he's being replaced. Everybody's being replaced because they have a whole new cast of characters they want to add in. That doesn't really happen in Logan. It's just a send-off. Indiana Jones is not being replaced. There is no Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford. If they make another movie that's a spin-off and you don't want to go see it, don't go see it. That's all I have to say. It's not going to be Indiana Jones. There is but one. There's not going to be, there will be another Wolverine. There will be another, but in another universe. And I'm sure that Hugh Jackman will be there to hand off the torch or the claws. I would liken this, and also bear in mind, James Mangold made Logan. He was not involved in Star Wars.
Do you think that that's also another reason for the criticism? Is this the first Indiana Jones movie that's not been directed by Spielberg or written by Lucas?
Yes, but I've also heard plenty of people say, there are only 3 Indiana Jones films! Literally. But the same 2 people who made the first 3 made the 4th one. And was it a cash grab? I don't know. You think George Lucas needs more money?
I think it's more of a future bribe for Harrison Ford. But
Maybe.
look, I'm not doing Star Wars unless we consider doing another Indiana Jones.
I think they, unlike Quentin Tarantino, who's set a cap for himself, and also I think that's a lie, I think they wanted to make another movie. I've also read where people were like, it's not Indiana Jones unless it's like a religious artifact. Like it has to be that for some reason. Wouldn't that get old though? I think that would get boring.
That also goes in.
They do, yeah. They have that as...
What religion? because the alien thing, those people clearly worship those creatures.
The
same way within Temple of Doom, they worship those stones because it was precious to their society.
Yeah, and I worship science, so the Antikythera mechanism for me is like the Holy Grail. If we could actually find out what it means, who made it, and in reality, not this fictional version, which is pretty cool. It's not what you think it is. Whatever, if you haven't seen this movie, without spoiling it, it's not what you think it is, I promise you. Unless for some reason you figured it out, in which case, kudos to you. I think that people would rather their heroes go out in a blaze of glory, punching people and being super cool and awesome, turning around, jumping the shark, flipping the camera off. I don't know what. They don't want to see their heroes get old and sad. That's not a good story, though. There's been this trope in several movies, several genres even, of like having one last go round and continuing it until you're in the grave, I guess.
So, final takeaways. Is this a perfect movie? No. Is it the best Indiana Jones movie? No. Is this still a decent movie worth a watch? Absolutely. It's like the problems people are having with it, I didn't have. Maybe you will. I don't know. But I still say go see it and find out for yourself.
Yeah, go see a movie. Like, share, and subscribe.
And with that, we'll end our episode. If you stayed with this far, thank you. Be sure to give us a like and a subscribe. And comment, let us know. Are you going to see this movie? Have you already seen this movie? Let us know your thoughts.
In our main podcast, which we're going with the theme of that one, if you're hearing this before you hear the podcast, which I don't know what our scheduling is going to be like, so vice versa. Maybe you've listened to this before and just haven't made it to that. But it's about toxic review culture. And there is a culture based around giving something a toxic or negative review.
And until next time, see you.